everybody, my name is Bragster and welcome back to TEW 2020, where we are in charge of Impact Wrestling. Now we're off the back of possible disappointment really, where Miro defeated Alex Shelley in a 54 rated match. It could have been a lot better, really could have been a lot better, but unfortunately it wasn't. I think this week's show will be really good. We've got a lot of tag team based action in some way, shape or form. Obviously we've got the no disqualification handicap match. We have the tag team match involving the Kingdom and Eddie Edwards and Willie Mack. We've also got the tag team match between Miro and TJP facing off against Ace Austin and Madman Fulton, which is really good. Right, I've got a few things to go over with you. First up, Miro. At the moment, Miro is on a 52 popularity. He has dropped considerably. Yeah, he's dropped considerably, and that is down to me. Do not get me wrong, I used him to help elevate other stars. I'm hoping good matches will be enough to build him back up. I might have to have him beat someone big on the roster just to keep him in check. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about, the reason I wanted to talk about this is because it's just quite worrying, especially when Alex Shelley was outperforming Miro. The other thing I want to talk about is suicide. I'm doing it. I was thinking for ages, how the fuck do I bring back Frankie Kazarian? And then it hit me. Short story here. I went to bed. I was lying there and my thoughts were going all around the world. And then it hit me that Frankie Kazarian was the original Suicide. So why not have Frankie Kazarian's return be him as Suicide? Now, this is not permanent. He will eventually be revealed as Frankie Kazarian, although a lot of people will understand that it is Frankie Kazarian. However, this makes booking Frankie or Suicide a lot easier, because I can just, I can have him come back in many different ways. I can have him feud with different people because he's Suicide. Plus, I love Suicide, so I wanted Suicide to come back, and I've been trying to find somebody to take the Suicide mantle. Why not have it the first time I use Suicide personally be as Frankie Kazarian, the original Suicide? Obviously, we will reveal him eventually, but for now, while he can't really fit in a storyline, if we bring him back as Suicide, if Suicide goes away for a couple of weeks, it's okay because it's Suicide. If Frankie Kazarian went away for a couple of weeks, you'd be asking the question, why did we sign him for him just to go away? So this is a way that we can use him sporadically, use him well, while, you know, not feeling like we're misusing Frankie Kazarian in any way. He will become a big part of the roster, but we're going to wait for that. And obviously, if I'm bringing up Suicide, we need to talk about Manic. Manic, I might bring back. I won't tell you how, but I think I know how I'd bring him back. It's a difficult one, but I think I know roughly how I'm going to do it. So, yeah, we're going to find a way to bring him back, and then maybe we have Suicide and Manic as a tag team for a bit. They are both baby faces, so it is okay. Just to bolster the tag team division, which is in really good stead right now. We've got a lot of teams going, and we've got quite a few stables as well. So that's always good. So yeah, it's nice to have a few stables. I probably will want more stables in the future, but it's gotta be the right kind of stable. But yeah, I wanted to talk about those few things before we went into it. So I'm going to move on into Impact, and then I'll show you what happens. Right, so I was just looking through the little things on the side here, and I came across this, that Mike Bennett is frustrated. He's out of contract, out of any company, and he's not He's currently not doing anything, and he's not happy with that at the moment. He's raring to go is basically what's been put on there. I don't think he's had any matches at all on this game so far. No. So if you want me to bring Mike Bennett in, or Mike Kanellis, depending on who you want me to, what you want me to call him, I can bring him in. He's got a decent popularity, but not much, like at all, really. But he is about 35, so I don't really know. It's up to you guys, really. I'm not too fussed, but I can understand if you guys would want to see him. So we've got another AEW rejection, which is the Butcher. I haven't really checked his stats out. I do like the Butcher and the Blade as a tag team. I think they're a decent tag team. I like the Butcher's look. I just don't think he's anything special. He's got a very good popularity, but I'm not sure if he's got anything special going for him. I'm not sure if he would have been involved in any singles matches at all, because obviously if you're getting the Butcher, you'll want the Blade, unless you think the Butcher's a singles star, and I'm not sure. So yeah, it's up to you guys again. If you guys want to see the Butcher, I can get him in, because AEW aren't going to offer him a contract. Otherwise, I'll just leave him be. And we will look at the merchandise as well. It is the end of the month, so we'll just quickly compare to last month. As you can see, we've sold considerably less merchandise. One big factor, Johnny Gargano was written off TV for a couple of weeks. I think it's been 3 weeks now he's been written off TV, so that might be a reason. Alex Shelley's rise has been incredible. Now bear in mind he lost the big match. It's going to be interesting to see what he does next month, because obviously we've seen the rise, we've seen Chris Sabin get lower, we've seen Alex Shelley get higher, so I'm not really sure how Alex Shelley is going to do from here on out in terms of merch. Obviously we gave him a massive push, but will he be able to stay there? If he stays there, maybe he's a single star as well as a tag team star, but if he doesn't stay there, then it clearly is just because of the push. Mick Foley has stayed around the same amount. EC3 has stayed almost bang on the same amount. Miro is dropped a not a considerable amount, but he's dropped a little bit. Sami Callihan has improved. Moose improved. Moose has improved as well. So we've had a few people improve. Obviously we've had Phoenix, obviously is no longer with us. Penta's no longer with us. Eddie Edwards is no longer seem to be getting merch. Same as RVD and Ken Shamrock just aren't getting any merch. The one surprise is maybe Jake Christ. He's obviously been on an absolute tear at the moment. And Chris Bey. But people that are on like white hot momentum and that aren't in this list, we are yet to see the first woman break through in this merchandise sales. So it'd be nice to see some of the women on the roster break through in the next month or so, especially when I'm going to be pushing the women quite a bit. You will understand what I mean by that once I put the next episode of Impact. But I thought I'd show you the merchandise in comparison to last month, because I keep missing the comparisons, but this time I managed to catch it. Right, finally we have Jeff Hardy. We have Jeff Hardy in Impact now. He's left WWE. He probably had a match at the Royal Rumble, let's be honest. Okay, he was in the Royal Rumble match, which was won by Roman Reigns. I will show you that in a minute. So he was in that. Luckily, it was a good match, so it wouldn't have actually diminished his popularity. Get in, because they've only managed to get it down to 67. I expected them to try and get it down more. Aiden English has changed his body shape from toned to muscular. I need a thing to do with Aiden English and Simon Gotch. I think I know how to do it now. I think I've got, speaking of more stables, I think this is where they're going to get their identity, and from here on out is what I think, and that's what I'm going to try and do. Apparently we finished 2nd out of 5 in the Southeast Regional Battle. Who beat us? We haven't been beaten ever since. That's why I haven't mentioned regional battles, because we have won every single one. It said we came second. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I think I deleted the mail anyway. But yeah, that was weird. Hopefully that's not true, or, you know, at least means nothing. But we will look at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Who do WWE believe, well, what does the game believe will be winning the Royal Rumbles? So we'll go towards the start. Oh, they only had a 10 wrestler battle royal for the Women's Rumble. That's sad. That's sad that the game booked it like that. But Asuka did win the Women's Royal Rumble, and then Roman Reigns won the Men's. Just looking at a few of these names here, these are names that won't be on the card whatsoever. Nikki Cross defeating Sasha Banks for the Raw title. We wish. Aleister Black probably won't be on it at all. Roman Reigns in this Rumble. Look at all their names here. Some of these names will actually probably be in the Rumble, which is quite interesting. I can't believe they put Lesnar and Goldberg in it. Obviously Jeff Hardy was in it as well. But yeah, some decent names in there that I can see that will probably be in the actual Royal Rumble. But luckily they haven't hurt Jeff Hardy one bit. The question is, what do we do with Jeff Hardy? That is a big question that I think is a bit up in the air. Obviously he was a former TNA World Heavyweight Champion, so maybe he goes after Moose. But then if he loses, then that loses a lot of it loses a lot for Moose. Unless we have Moose lose the title to Jeff Hardy, maybe that is an option. We could also have, I'm thinking of doing it, maybe a Jake Christ Open challenge on the pay-per-view or something like that. Just a quick 10-minute thing. Maybe that's where we debut Jeff Hardy. That's actually a good shout, because I was going to do a Jake Christ Open challenge maybe on an Impact, and that's where Suicide might come in. Obviously we don't get Suicide for a little bit. We've got Jeff Hardy first, so maybe we go with a Jake Christ Open challenge. We put Jeff Hardy on the pay-per-view. Jeff Hardy goes over, maybe proving that, you know, he's still got a lot left in the tank, something like that. Just kind of proving a point, because Jake Christ is 36 as well, so he's not like too much younger. But it would be a good marquee match for Jake Christ, and would be a great way to debut Hardy. I think we might actually do that. Obviously that wasn't in the plans, but I'm sure we can add an extra 10 minutes to a show. We just need it to be a short match. It doesn't have to be amazing. It just needs to be a 10-minute match sort of thing to debut Jeff Hardy, and then there you go. But that's I think that's probably where we'll go with Jeff. So last month's expenses were more than what we would have expected. About 137,000. That's our second highest so far, below the October ones and just above the November ones. Weirdly enough, both of these didn't have a pay-per-view, but December that did have a pay-per-view actually, even though we used more workers, we got a lot of revenue from the pay-per-view itself. But yeah, I thought you guys would be interested that we're still losing money at a considerable rate, which is probably why I haven't upped the production as quickly as I wanted to. I probably want us to be green above everyone. Like when it comes to the indies, I think we want to be the best in indie promotion out there, and at the moment we're not quite that. But in terms of performances we are, but not quite in terms of production value. So hopefully we'll generate enough funds to do that and still be at the same level. Right, so we've got some incidents to deal with. We've just got one actually with Keith Harris, who created a fun and relaxed atmosphere backstage after finding a discarded karaoke machine. Lovely stuff there, just keeping morale up. Any absent workers, only Suicide, because obviously his contract hasn't begun yet. Right, so I'll book the show and then I'll show you what happens. Right, so I have booked the show. This is one hell of a show. As you can see, there is far less segments in this one. It's because it's a big one. It's weird how last week had that big fight feel, and then this one has just followed up with that, and hopefully this one actually delivers. I had 3 potential main events tonight, and I chose the one I best thought would be a good ending to the show. Not necessarily maybe what will give me the best rating, but definitely, most definitely, what will give me the best ending to the show. So I think let's just start the show and see what the hell comes out of this. So we start off the show with a 75 rated segment where Mick Foley introduces both Hojo and Taya Valkyrie and says whoever wins that title match at Sacrifice will be in a championship scramble match at Lockdown. The way we are going to announce those members is through a mini tournament. Now I'm doing this because I can't physically do it in game because it's a very weird concept to the tournament. There are 4 brackets to the tournament. All those 4 brackets will break down until we get 4 individuals. Those 4 individuals will join the champion in Kairi Hojo or the champion in Taya Valkyrie, whoever wins at Lockdown. He says that whoever loses at Lockdown is entitled to their championship rematch, but will not be able to take it at the pay-per-view. Will either have to take it before or afterwards, depending on, obviously, when they want it. Now, you're probably wondering, what are the brackets? The brackets are as follows. We will have Rosemary versus Lacey Ryan in the same bracket as Havoc versus Nevaeh. The winner of those 2 matches will face each other, and the winner of that match qualifies. You understand me? This is why it's a little bit more complicated and I can't do it in a tournament style, but you understand what I mean. You need 2 wins and you're in. So Rosemary versus Lacey Ryan, Havoc versus Nevaeh. Then we have Tasha Steelz versus Kira Hogan. Obviously they are tag team champions in real life, but on this game I'm putting them against each other. And then in the same bracket is Kylie Ray versus Kimber Lee. Obviously the winner of those 2 matches will face each other. Then we've got Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb will be facing each other, and in the same bracket is Angelina Love and Madison Rayne. 2 big matches in that segment. That is probably one of the biggest segments, and I say one of because the next one could be bigger, which is Jordan Grace versus Melina and Deonna Purrazzo versus Tennille Dashwood. And then the winners of those will be facing each other. He said, and Mick Foley announces that the first matches will start next week. Every week you'll either have them both on Impact or one on Impact, one on Explosion. Every week there's a bracket. So every time the brackets diminish, there won't be like a, oh, I've had 1 week less to prepare sort of thing. Next week's is the beginning, which will be Deonna Purrazzo versus Tennille Dashwood and Jordan Grace versus Melina. Those will be starting next week, and this will be in the build-up to Lockdown, where there will be a championship scramble match. I love a good scramble match. I think it's a concept that is missing in the world of professional wrestling at the moment, so I wanted to bring it back. I wanted to bring it back in a weird, wacky way, and I know it's like a complicated tournament, but I will be speaking you through it as time goes on. This is why this is the huge Mick Foley announcement. There is another huge Mick Foley announcement later on, but this is the one that was predetermined. This is the moment for me where the women's division, this is the rise of the women's division. Obviously the women's division has been on a rise for a long time. This is the one. This is I planned a championship scramble match at lockdown at the pretty much from the start, and I know I say that a lot at the moment, but there are certain big moments in the tag division, which was the tournament, certain big moment in the women's division, which is now, certain big moments in the men's division, which was the Bound for Glory series, certain big moments in the X division, which is Destination X. You know, I've planned a big moment in every division to help rise it up. This is something I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that every division rises or has a chance to show off what they can do. This is the women's division's time. They have proven time and time again they can do exactly that. This is the time to really push it. This is where every rivalry in the women's division right now comes together. Every rivalry I've ever done in the women's division is now like interlocking. This is the moment, this is the culmination of all of these rivalries, and that's why this is a big announcement. Obviously a 75 rating does prove that, and hopefully all of the women in this segment do get a rise. It would be interesting to find out who you guys believe will go on to that championship scramble. So, you know, it will be interesting to see who you think will go through to that match, and who you think they'll face as well. Do you think it will be Ty Valkyrie, or do you think it will be Kairi Hojo? This is a huge, huge time for me. This is something I have planned out on my little notepad for a while. So this is it. This is it for the women's division. The other thing announced. There's a lot of announcements in this segment. This was like an 8-minute segment. I could have made it 10, honestly. But the other but Mick Foley's, you can run through this quite quickly once you start revealing stuff. The other announcement is for the next 2 weeks there will be women's showcase matches. Well, the tournament is called the Women's Showcase, like the Women's Showcase tournament type thing, because it's literally loads of women's matches. It's not like a proper tournament, it's just loads of matches. The Women's Showcase matches will be 4v4 matches. All of the brackets come together. They sometimes like you'll have 3 of the same bracket on one side, sometimes on the other. I've tried to put some of the alliances and some of the rivalries like opposite each other, some of the alliances together. So this week we will see Jordan Grace, Deanna Purrazzo, Melina, Tennille Dashwood, and then one of the other segments, I can't remember which one it is off the top of my head, but they will be squaring off against each other, and I've planned out who they will be teaming with and feuding with in terms of what makes sense for storyline reasons, and not based on whether they're heels or faces. It's all just based off whether it makes sense for storyline. 75 rating is a great way to start the show, and is a great way to progress all of these women's rivalries as it should. But yeah, lovely stuff there. 75 rating, what a way to start the show. Then we kick off the show with a 47 rated segment where Ace Austin and Madman Fulton defeat Miro and TJP in about 16 minutes, when Ace Austin pinned TJP with a house of cards after there'd been a bad miscommunication with Miro. Obviously Miro and TJP have tension right at the moment, and this was obvious throughout the match. Miro was head and shoulders above everyone else. It was nice to see that. This was the possible main event, and I don't believe it's a flop necessarily. I did keep Miro and TJP strong in this because TJP was a bit unhappy, and I did want to keep him quite strong, and I didn't want Miro to lose too much popularity here. He's already lost quite a bit. But I had there be miscommunication because of their little rivalry going on at the moment, which means TJP has just been pinned by Ace Austin. Does that mean that Ace Austin is now in this #1 contenders title picture? We'll have to find out. Then we've got a 47 rated segment where this miscommunication continues. Miro and TJP brawl TJP comes out on top. TJP hits him with his finisher and just lays out Miro. It's just unbelievable. The crowd are going mental because they've just realised what that means. Miro has just like been laid out by TJP. So 47 rated segment there, nice stuff. Then we have a 47 rated segment where Rhino and Brian Myers accept the challenge of Heath and EC3, and there's a tense showdown. There will be a tag team match at the pay-per-view of Sacrifice, EC3 and Heath versus Rhino and Brian Myers. Apparently EC3 and Heath didn't do well without the script, and only Brian Myers actually did well without the script. Disappointing because EC3 and Heath are two of our best talkers, and they keep not doing well without a script at the moment. But when they do well, the segment shoots up. So yeah, it's a bit of a frustrating one. Then we have a 42 rated segment where this is the tag team showcase match for the women. So we have Jordan Grace, Kimberly, Tasha Steelz and Kylie Ray versus Deonna Purrazzo, Kira Hogan and Melina Antonio Dashwood, where Jordan Grace, Kimberly, Tasha Steelz and Kylie Ray all win when Tasha Steelz, of all people, submits Melina. Tasha Steelz has came out of nowhere and just submitted Melina. Yeah, that just happened. Yeah, lovely stuff here. 42 rated segment. Kylie Ray 30, Tasha Steelz 21, Kimberly 37. That's brilliant by Kimberly. Jordan Grace 47, Kira Hogan 30, Tenille Dashwood 40, Melina Perez 31, and Deonna Purrazzo 45. Tasha Steelz seems to have been the weakest one in this match, which is a worry because obviously we've just had her get the big win. To be fair, it could have been anyone. I wanted, because obviously naturally Jordan Grace and Deonna Purrazzo are the obvious two that standouts in this. Then you've got Melina and Tenille Dashwood as standouts. Kylie Ray is possibly maybe the other standout, but she's still not obviously reached the heights we know she can. Then you've got Kimberly, Tasha Steelz and Kira Hogan, all people who haven't quite had too many chances to impress. So yeah, to see Kimberly do as well as she did is very surprising and is very interesting actually. And then obviously you've got Kira Hogan and Tasha Steelz. Tasha Steelz getting a 21 isn't good at all because I'm worried about their match now. So I might do more matches between maybe Kimberly, Tasha Steelz, Kira Hogan and maybe Kylie Ray, just to get, I might do a fatal 4-way between those guys. They're all in the same little segment, so it does make sense. I might do that on Explosion just to get a taste as to maybe who, because that's one of the brackets that's a bit up in the air. So I want that bracket to know exactly who in that bracket is good. So yeah, 42 rated segment, nice stuff. Then we have a 50 rated segment where Elijah Burke comes out and says that they are going to see Moose join the Kingdom. The crowd are going to see Moose finally accept to join the Kingdom. And Moose comes out and just goes, no, I'm not joining. Burke goes mental. He's like, I gave you an opportunity I do not give to anybody. I gave you an opportunity that I would not give anyone. Yet I gave it you. I gave you the chance to join the biggest faction in Impact. I gave you a chance to join us. I gave you a chance to join the revolution. And you rejected me. You will regret this. And that's how the segment ends between Burke and Moose and the rest of the Kingdom. Yeah, real strong words by Elijah Burke there. I've got a really itchy nose, like right on the tip of my nose. It's really annoying. But yeah, Elijah Burke, really good stuff there. Moose, again, always doing well. Then we've got a 44 rated segment where RVD defeated Tommy Dreamer in about 10 minutes by pinfall with a 5-star frog splash. This was an old school rules match or an hardcore match. They both had the hardcore stipulation and stuff on as well, like the match style. So Tommy Dreamer got a 34, RVD got a 45. They didn't click at all. But to get a 44 in a match that you don't click in is pretty good going, so I'm happy with that. Then we've got a 48 rated segment. This is huge. So Motor City Machine Guns come out to congratulate the North. The North come out, they mock Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin for not being able to win their singles titles, and that basically their singles pushes were worthless. The North may as well have got that. While Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin were going around trying to get title matches and failing, the North were thriving. This brings out the Rascals, who come out and are just like, look, every time we get an opportunity, we get an injury. We went to face the North initially, we got an injury. We went into this tag team title tournament, we got an injury that cost us our place. Mick Foley wouldn't even allow us to have a place in the tournament once he realised how bad the injury was. And basically the Rascals are kind of going, we deserve a chance. We deserve a chance to earn our place in that title match. We never got this chance, and we deserve. And obviously the North are like, well, you had the chance. Trey and I think it was Dez. Yeah, Trey and Dez. It was like Trey and Dez had an opportunity to earn their shot, and then Trey and Dez are like, yeah, we did, to which you cost us. Dominic Guarini got involved, which cost us our shot at even getting our shot back in the tournament. We shouldn't have had to earn it anyway. Then we went to earn it, we started doing well in the match, and you guys got involved, costing it us. We deserve an opportunity to get that back. So we're setting up maybe some sort of match where the Rascals can try and earn their place in that title match. But we'll come to that probably next week. This is just everyone squaring off here. The 3 teams just squaring off. 48 rated segment, really nice stuff there. Then we have a 52 rated segment where Willie Mack and Eddie Edwards defeated Chris Bey and Shane Taylor when Willie Mack pinned Chris Bey with a Chocolate Thunder driver. This is huge. Obviously Willie Mack got a 43 rating, the same as Shane Taylor. That's good to see. And Eddie Edwards got a 54, Chris Bey with 49. This is huge. This is not only the Kingdom's first loss of any of their members, this is Chris Bey's first loss ever. First loss ever for Chris Bey, and it was done by Willie Mack. Willie Mack and Eddie Edwards had some there was a lot of tension, so they were tagging each other in and stuff, but unlike Miro and TJP earlier on in the night, which commentary referenced like they couldn't get along, these two managed to do it. Willie Mack went for the win, and he managed to pin the X Division champion. So yeah, Kingdom's first loss and Chris Bey's first loss ever. I think that's like, I think how many matches? I think it's like 12-13 matches he hasn't lost in, which is nuts. So yeah, he's pretty much gone about 6 months without losing, and this is his first loss. So 52 rating, really nice match there. Then we have a 58 rated segment where Mick Foley is backstage with Miro and Moose and Ace Austin and TJP and Madman Fulton, and Foley makes a Battle of the Champions match. He said, I've seen you guys backstage, I've seen the way you guys have been, saying this to Miro and Moose. He says, next week you guys get a chance to let out your frustrations. Miro and Moose will face each other. Miro and Moose will face each other in the main event next week. And then he goes to Ace Austin and TJP. He says, on the final Impact before the pay-per-view, we will find out Miro's challenger. It will be Ace Austin versus TJP for literally one last time This is where almost judgment day for both of these guys. They're both beating each other, so now it comes down to this, and it's for a shot at the IMPACT World title. Who will come out on top? Mick Foley does make the match of Madman Fulton versus TJP next week as well. 58 rate segment here, lovely stuff. It progresses so many storylines, which is great to see. Mick Foley's obviously had a massive presence, and that's what I mean. Like, this week was full of announcements and full of big things. This was one of them. And finally, the main event of the evening. I do not know how this is going to go. Our two main events, our two possible main events previously in the night. One was a 47, one was a 52. This needs to be massively above that. And it's not. It's a 51 rated segment. This is flop number 355 now. And it's because Sami Callihan got an injury. This was a no DQ handicap match. Rich Swann defeated Sami Callihan and Eric Young in a no DQ handicap match in about 18 minutes when Rich Swann pinned Eric Young with a chicken fried driver. During the match, Johnny Gargano returned. He ran in on the match about halfway through, started attacking Eric Young, started attacking Sami Callihan, made the odds even. This was Rich Swann's plan the whole time. He wanted to bring Sami Callihan and Eric Young to a false sense of security, and he did exactly that, and he managed to earn the win through that. Sami Callihan did take a stump bump. Unfortunately, that might have caused the injury of the chronic shoulder pain. Hopefully that's not a long injury, but that would have cost the match in terms of performance. It was a 51. Sami Callihan got a 60. He's been doing some great stuff recently. I think this would have been mid-50s, maybe even more if that injury didn't happen. Unfortunately, he did sustain injury. Rich Swann got some backstage heat as it was felt his mistake caused Sami Callihan's injury as well. That's annoying. And then to close the show off, we've got a 47 rated segment where Rich Swann and Johnny Gargano give Eric Young and Sami Callihan a piece of their own medicine. Johnny Gargano does the Ciampa driver through the table thing that Johnny Gargano and Ciampa did to each other multiple times. He does that to Sami Callihan. And that he does that obviously because Sami Callihan referenced Ciampa through the DDT onto the concrete. So Johnny Gargano gave him a piece of his own medicine and put him through the table. Really good closing shot of Rich Swann and Johnny Gargano standing tall in the chaos with broken tables, weapons everywhere, the ringside ripped open, the ring ripped open. It just looked like there had been a war. This is why I wanted this to go on last, no matter what, really, because it was that visual of having Gargano and Swann stand tall whilst Callihan and Young are laid out with the ring in ruins. It would be a cool visual. So how does that end up with the show being? Ends up being a 55 rated show. It's one of our worst shows so far. We seem to be hitting that 55 mark more often than I would like. But all three of our potential main events all flopped tonight. For whatever reason, we are struggling to get the ball rolling in terms of our shows at the moment, which is not good. Obviously, it's still good in terms of increasing our popularity. Kylie Ray was overused. Tasha Steelz was apparently overused on this show. I do not care one bit. Quite simply, they deserve this. This is going to increase their popularity, so I don't really mind. But everything kind of flopped on this show. I wouldn't call it like a massive flop. I would just say that nothing really excelled. We've had a lot of matches around that Destination X pay-per-view time where a lot of matches started to excel. We're getting to a stage where they're not really excelling. No one's really showing me. Maybe Sami Callihan's the only one really that is pushing beyond the limits, and he's just got an injury, unfortunately. Miro's been a bit disappointing, but he picked that up in this match here. Next week is obviously the Battle of the Championships match. That's gotta go down well. That's got to go down well, otherwise we're going to struggle to build momentum towards this pay-per-view, which we are only 2 shows away now. We are only 2 we are only 2 Impact shows away from that pay-per-view, which is mad to think. It doesn't feel that long ago I was doing Destination X, and here we are, and here we are in only 2 weeks away. Obviously we do have Explosion and stuff to go into, but it's still mad to think how close we are. But I'm happy with the shows we're producing at the moment. I'm just not feeling it at the moment, like in terms of the ratings that our shows are getting. Like, I feel really confident with these shows, and I feel like we are putting on some really good stuff, but the ratings aren't quite showing that at the moment. And maybe it's because I'm trying to rise people up the card. I'm trying to rise Rich Swann, I'm trying to rise Eric Young, I'm trying to rise all the women on the roster, I'm trying to rise the tag division. Maybe it's because I'm trying to improve everything. I'm not necessarily putting our best people against each other, I'm just trying to get everyone higher in popularity. Maybe that's partly because of it, and the massive push of the Kingdom's probably not helping that. But anyway, we'll look at this. So we've got Rosemary's contract is ending. I will obviously be renewing that. It's Rosemary. She's one of my favourite women's wrestlers in the world at the moment. Naturally, I am going to be renewing this. She deserves a higher cut of the merchandise, apparently. If you sold merchandise, that would be nice. But yeah, really nice stuff there. GCW are making a lot of changes to their production, so maybe I need to make more changes to just stay above them. Sami Callihan was injured. I will check that in a minute. CM Punk and AJ Lee have gotten divorced, apparently. I think CM Punk, okay, he's left the wrestling business. About to say, I was like, what's going on? Oh, he's retired. He's got such a large popularity. Imagine if you could get him out of retirement. I'll probably keep him in retirement unless he comes back in real life. Maybe that's the only time I might bring him back, although it would be great to bring him back on the game. We're looking at stuff down here. Apparently Ryan trying out of WWE. I don't really know who he is. Montez Ford is apparently his contract's expiring. I can talk to him. I love Montez Ford. I love Montez Ford. So I will be offering him a contract for about 2 years and see what happens there. Give him more popularity. Yeah, no problem. He's got a better offer, so I'll see what I can offer him. I do really like Montez Ford, so I would like to see him in Impact, but I probably won't be able to get him anyway. Now it looks like WWE want to keep him, which is obviously fair enough. I'm not going to get in the way of that. I do not mind. We'll look at our size. I don't think anything would have improved, although a couple of regions have actually improved here. The Hawaii and Puerto Rico area improved. What else can we look at? Merchandise. Obviously Johnny Gargano did appear, so that's probably going to help a little bit there. I'm not sure if anyone... I will look at obviously this stuff in my own time, but I'm not sure obviously how much that would have improved people. The only people it might have improved is the women on the roster, but I'll check those in my own time. So we'll get on into Explosion. If anything happens beforehand, I'll show you. If not, we'll just get straight on into that. Right, so some real bad news. Sami Callihan is out for 2 months to 2 weeks with chronic shoulder pain. He is injured. I don't know how much this is going to affect his ability to wrestle. I might have to test that on Explosion. If he does not make it, I don't know what match I'm going to do. Sami Callihan has been like one of my best people on the roster at the moment, and he turned into a franchise player for me. That loss really hurt him, but then obviously this injury, it's going to halt his progression a lot. 2 months is a long time. It might not seem on the game, but you think that will take us to the lockdown pay-per-view, like, and that's how far away that is. That hurts. Yeah, we might have to test that on Explosion, on the next Explosion, to see how he does. There's a lot of things Explosion's actually going to be useful for, so we'll get to that now. Right, so let's look at last night's AEW Dynamite, which was saved by a massive main event where Chris Jericho and Cody defeated Adam Page and Jon Moxley in a ladder match. Only got a 63 rating, their show. They're going down recently. Have NXT gone up again? Because that would be quite funny if they have. No, they got the exact same. So NXT have gone from beating AEW to keeping on the same level. So maybe this is NXT's rise, as Impact have gone down a little bit, only for a bit, and then hopefully we'll pick things back up. But I thought you guys would be interested, as I keep looking at those recently, especially. Right, so at the moment GCW are on the same levels as us in terms of all of these production values. So what I'm going to do is something very, very risky. I'm going to up every single one of them. I know that's risky, but I've got the money. I'm going to up every single one. We are above everyone else now. This is the time to push forwards. In terms of how we do, this is time to push forward. We have high quality production, medium levels of live event experience. Broadcast quality is cutting edge. We've got in-house music, so the music's still a little bit down, but our production has gone up considerably now. This is time to push forward with Impact. Right, so we got an incident between Ken Shamrock and Mick Foley, where Ken Shamrock was brought before the Wrestlers' Court, accused of being an hour late to their assigned travel partner. They are now sentenced to pay for their travel partner's meals. Decent stuff there, small positive impact on Ken Shamrock as well. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So let's book Explosion and see what happens. Right, so I've booked Explosion. It's a decent show, obviously. A lot of it is just trying to do those matches that I told you about, where I'm trying to work out who's good and who's not. And so basically Sami Callihan's going to get one chance to show me that he's still got the goods, and the 4 women in that bracket are going to show me who really is ones to watch in that segment and maybe who's not. Everything else around it is a lot of storyline progression. So we start off the show with a 41 rated segment where Sami Callihan defeated Brian Cook in about 12 minutes with a curb stomp. Sami Callihan got a 49 rated in-ring performance. Brian Cook got a 19. The injury that Sami Callihan worked through took a toll, although less than it would have had on most people. 49. You guys say what you guys want me to do, because a 49 is decent. It's gonna be around the same as Rich Swann, I think, of what he's gonna produce. So I might actually keep it. I might keep the match the same. Just might keep in mind that Sami Callihan might perform worse. So I might not make it one of the prominent matches on the show. Luckily it wasn't supposed to be anyway. So that's okay. Brian Cook was also off his game. 41 rating. Luckily his in-ring performance isn't as bad as I thought it might have been. If it was close to that 45 mark, I might have been worried, but to be at that 50 mark is decent actually. Then we've got a 45 rated segment where ODB tells Su Yung to show her respect and show herself next week. She says, I relinquished my place in the women's showcase for you. I gave up my place in the women's showcase so I could deal with you. So yeah, ODB referencing the fact that, you know, she's not in the women's showcase. She's one of the prominent people not in it. These two are the prominent people. Obviously Su Young's not in it because it's Su Yung, and ODB's not in it because she wants to deal with Su Yung before she thinks of any title. Then we've got a 42 rated segment where the Sons of Perfection talk about their need to work together 24/7 to make a bond like no other. They actually perform really well here, off script and stuff. 42 rating for a promo is actually not too bad. I was considering maybe getting someone in to be their manager, but if they can do performances like this, maybe I don't have to worry too much. Then we've got a 20 rated segment where Rohit tries to be one of the Voros brothers in preparation for their match that's coming up next. Obviously Rohit isn't one of the Voros brothers, so this is a bit awkward between these guys. Rohit did well without a script, but unfortunately the Voros brothers didn't. I wanted to see what the Voros brothers could do on the mic, unfortunately not much, but I did decide, you know, give them a chance. It's the explosion, it doesn't really matter. Then we've got a 38 rated match where the Warriors of Paint, which is not their official name just yet, defeated Rohit, Raju and the Voros brothers when Danhausen pinned Chris Voros. Warhorse was above everyone else in terms of in-ring performance. Crazy Steve got a 31. I've got an itch on my leg, that's why I'm leaning in. Got 31. Danhausen got 28. Warhorse with a 47. He's incredible. And Rohit Raju with a 35. The Voros brothers around the 18 mark. So yeah, I wanted a match to see what the Warriors of Paint could do. And I also needed Rohit to have something, so why not put Rohit and the Voros brothers together, because the Voros brothers can take the pin, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, this is preparing for the Warriors of Paint to announce that they are a fully fledged stable now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have Warhorse be the single star and have Danhausen and Crazy Steve as the tag team, as they're closer in-ring performance. And Warhorse can go for the X Division stuff a little bit more. You know, he's close to that 50 mark, and I haven't even tried to push him. Maybe except from that RVD storyline, but I never had him beat RVD. I think that's what, you know, I forget. I never had him actually beat RVD, I don't think. So, you know, that's huge performance by Warhorse. And then we've got a 45 rated segment where Rosemary and Ty Valkyrie reminisce about both possibly being in that scramble match at Lockdown. Rosemary has a chance to get there. If Ty Valkyrie wins the title, she will definitely be there. So you've got this little moment between Rosemary and Valkyrie where they're like excited at the prospect of both being in that title match and having a 2 out of 5 chance of winning, of having the title in their possession. So yeah, really good stuff there. 45. They could have even been better knowing those two. Then we got a 34 rated segment where Nevaeh tells Havoc that she isn't going to go anywhere near Havoc. She isn't going to team with Havoc, none of this, while she has Mitchell by her side. Obviously, Havoc and Nevaeh will be teaming next week, but that is like not as a proper team. She's not going to be friends and buddy with Havoc while Mitchell is by her side. She's not having it. Havoc didn't do well without a script this time, but advancing the storyline between these guys. Then we've got a 52 rated segment where Jake Chris cuts a promo on Legends in Impact, like a weird like pipe bomb sort of promo where he says that Impact have relied on legends from WWE and the wrestling business for years, and they've never really created their own stars, and it's about time they did. And Jake Chris vows to be one of the first Impact own stars. So yeah, Jake Chris kind of putting over why he's doing this here. He does say that he respects Ken Shamrock, you know, for understanding why he is doing this. And then the main event of the evening is a 35 rated match where Kylie Ray defeated Kira Hogan, Kimberly and Tasha Steelz in about 15 minutes when Kylie Ray pinned Tasha Steelz with a super kick. Tasha Steelz got a 29, Kira Hogan 30, Kimberly 37, Kylie Ray 34. Kimberly is outperforming all of these. She's very underrated. This is put into question because, if I'm honest, Kimberly's the one I was definitely not going to have go through here. So to see her do this is concerning. Yeah, it's an interesting one because Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz especially has 10 popularity, so she's currently performing about 20 above hers. Kiera Hogan has about 20, so she's performing about 10 above hers. I don't know where Kimberly is, and I don't know where Kylie Ray is, but there's a consistent mid-30s performances by both of those. So they both get a 35, which results in a 38 ratio. That's one of our worst explosion shows in a while. I expected that. It does put into question, who do we have go through there? I have a plan. I will probably stick to the plan if I'm honest. I can change the plan at a later date if needs be, but I'll probably stick to my initial plan. I've got a few weeks to ponder over it, but I'll probably stick to my initial plan as best I can, which is fine. I might do these Fatal 4-Way matches for every single one, other than obviously the Jordan Grace Peraza one, because I know how good those guys are, so I don't really need to do it for those guys, but I will probably do the Fatal 4-Ways for all the other ones anyway, just to see where they're at. It's an interesting one, to say the least. This has been an interesting episode for me, personally. I think this was a jam-packed episode of Impact, a lot of big matches in terms of what they mean, and a lot of big announcements in terms of what they mean for Impact. This is an interesting ride. I hope you guys are interested in this women's showcase. Tell me again who you think is going to go through to that championship scramble match. We'll be interested to see who you think will go through there in comparison to what I'm actually going to do. But this has been an interesting one, and I'm very interested to see how this goes. I know I'm saying interesting a lot, but my head is spinning around in circles. I don't really know where I'm going to go with a lot of this stuff. That Sami Callihan injury hurts. Sami Callihan has probably been my star performer at the moment, and to have him gone for 2 months is tough. I will have him probably perform at the pay-per-view. I think I'll stick with that, and then we'll have to see, because it's a worry, it's a concern. I might have him written off TV at the pay-per-view. What I might do is have Johnny Gargano take out Sami Callihan after the match or something like that. Good and proper take him out this time, put him through the stage or something, and then when Sami Callihan comes back, he has a rivalry. He has Johnny Gargano to face. I might do that. I might do that because I think that's probably the best decision. I know it's like random, but it's probably the best decision for me right now is to do that. So yeah, hit that like button if you like this video and are continuing to enjoy this series. I am seeing that you guys are consistently watching this series, and that does mean a lot. Comment anything down below from what I've said in this video, and any plans you want me to do with both Suicide and Jeff Hardy. And if you're new here, please do subscribe. I nearly missed that bit. Please do subscribe so you do not miss a thing. And I shall see all of you guys in the next video. See ya!